Good evening and welcome.
Blog Talk Radio.
Me a book every week. So I've developed a love for reading. And of course, you know, reading leads to everything else.
Reading is fundamental, people.
Yes, and it's important to anything else we need to learn. And so she prepared us. She prepared us in so many ways. Yeah.
Well, that's a great inspirational part, because I love to read also. I'm an avid reader.
Yes.
So, I mean, it gives me, like, fuse my creativity before I start actually seeing what was in the world and stuff, like the imagination came from there. So now I'm more of seeing the world now than reading about the world, because I did that first. So now it's like, but, you know, you continue to learn, like life learning and stuff or whatever. Like, I read all the time. Like, I was sick last week, and I think I was told to do stuff like rest and watch movie stuff to decompress my mind and stuff, but it's like I can't stop reading, so every time it's an article, whatever it is, or if it's something I don't know about, I got to research it, so I can definitely relate to the reading part.
I had teachers in the Choctaw County Public School
Hey, Austin.
Throughout.
He late, but he here, y'all.
Throughout my school career, high school, who encouraged us to not only to read but to write. Okay. And so it's no accident that I became a poet and author of 3 books, 3 published books.
So 3 published books, you say?
Yes, my book of poems, Fear Not the Fall, takes me the journey that began for me as a child, and through Selma, through law school, and it was published in 2003.
Do you have any of the books with you today?
Yes, I have one of them with me.
Is it with you right now?
Yes.
Can I see it?
Sure.
See, you jumped ahead because, see, that was a question, but you already answered, so maybe I don't need this. I was going to get into that. But tell us a little bit about your radio show also, because I know I got a link this morning. I hadn't had a chance to check it out yet, but tell us a little bit about what's it about, what do y'all talk about?
I don't have a radio show.
Oh, you're on the radio?
Yeah, I was on Marion's radio show.
Yeah, that's the show.
On Sunday.
So what's that about?
Well, I talk to the people there about my work. I'm also, I'm not simply a professor and an artist, but I supervise the jail renovation project in Marion. It's we received one of those African American civil rights grants. I applied for it. We got to $500,000, and we're converting our jail into a civil and voting rights museum and cultural center. And the county commission asked me to do that. So not only did I work with this project, but I also worked with school children in Perry County. Okay. When I first came back there. I love Perry County.
I can tell the way you said it's like you romanticize the word Perry County. Yes. I think I like Perry County too.
but before you all continue, excuse me, I just want to lift up a little bit about this jail project. I was at the groundbreaking ceremony there in Marion for this historic jail. And so, you know, I think the fact that you bring resources to a community or help bring resources is very significant. Everybody knows that we need more resources in these Black Belt counties. Yes. But also the historical and educational importance of that project. I just wanted to lift up for people. I feel like I even had a spiritual experience at that groundbreaking ceremony, really. Many folks in our area, if you've come to Jubilee or you've seen the play that Dr. Young has put on about Jimmy Lee Jackson, may be familiar with the name James Orange. He worked closely with Dr. King. He was in jail at the time that Jimmy Lee Jackson was murdered, and that it was his the threat of him being murdered that really caused people to be out there that night in Marion. And he was in this jail that you have worked to get restored.
Oh, wow.
What's so significant about this groundbreaking ceremony for me personally is that Reverend Orange's his wife and his daughter came to the groundbreaking ceremony, and the night that he was supposed to die, that Jimmy Lee Jackson died instead, the night that Reverend Orange was supposed to die, do you know what, 30, 40 years later, that's the actual date of his death? Wow. So he actually died on that same day, but 40 years later. And if that doesn't tell us that it ain't our time until the Lord says so. I mean, the risk that he took to be in the movement. Yes. He still lived a long life. I remember as a child, he would always come up to me like he would every other person that I know of and say, "Hey, leader, how you doing?" Yes. He would encourage leadership in all of us. And so it was just such a special day, that groundbreaking ceremony, Dr. Young. I will not forget it. So I'm glad you went back there.
James Orange was a dear friend and came to any movement I was involved in. When we led the pilgrimage for Maggie Bozeman and Julia Wilder from Pickens County, a caravan of 150 women in cars to try to protect Maggie and Julia. James Orange called me up and said, "We will be there to protect you women." And we didn't have phones then, but they had walkie-talkies. Okay. Yes. So James always supported me. So there's a section in there. Sheriff Hood, the first black sheriff of Perry County, told me where his cell was. Not only was Miss Orange and her daughter there then, but his son came and took a picture in the cell for me that James was in, and it is so reminiscent of James Orange. But that will be an exhibit in the museum. We'll also have a black box theater there, so that play you were in, Malika, Jimmy Lee, you and your daughter, we will be able to stage it upstairs. Really? Yes. We're taking a part of it upstairs to create a black box.
So when is the date for all these things? I want to go.
When can we go? When can we go? I think it's time for a field trip.
Oh, okay. Because I'm trying to get my calendar.
Let me be patient.
I just went to the groundbreaking ceremony last year. Okay, so a year ago. So they're still in process.
Okay, because I'm thinking I'm finna get you out of date. I need to be here.
We will definitely let you know.
So I know you do poetry and stuff, and I'm a poet myself, but I'm not this level of poetry. So, what inspires you to write, and what is your definition of a poet? Because I get asked questions about poetry sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know. I think a person that's been doing this for a long time can probably explain this journey and this process, or even having being vocal on paper versus being, because it's more, to me, it's more powerful because people don't have to listen to what you say, but they will read whatever you write. So that's a way to captivate people. So how do you, what would you say a poet is? I just think it's just a person that has a lot to say, and sometimes it depends on the situation or the circumstance or the audience. They may not can say.
Well, as a poet, I write out of great feeling. And usually that's either frustration, anger, or something terrible has happened and I have to catalog it.
Right.
Or I have an insight about something. I think to have the confidence to put your words on paper, that's the first thing that's very important. That your thoughts are important, and that other people can listen to you.
Right.
Nobody ever told me that I should be a poet. I began to write. And I wrote poems about my existence, about what was going on with the youth I was involved with. My poem Black Beauty Bee has become a classic.
Have fans here, y'all. Me?
Just a Black Beauty Bee.
Well, could y'all just go ahead and do the poem? go ahead and do that because I want it. And y'all start speaking.
We won't have enough time. I want to make sure all of her. But I just got so inspired.
Malika distracting us.
Young girls love it because it speaks to them about becoming.
But just forward it to me, I can love it too. But you mentioned earlier that you were one of the founders of BBAC. Could you explain what BBAC is? Because I know a lot of people may be familiar with some other viewers, and since we on Facebook and the radio and the website.
Well, I was working at an economic development project called SWAFCO when Rose and Hank moved to Selma.
Okay.
They came from Harvard and from Africa with all kinds of ideas about what could be done. And one of the things that was there, and Rosa said, was let's have theater. And it was such a welcome thought because I am an actress.
Right.
And I became the official director for the first BBAC, although I never
what
directed
does that
before.
I'm trying to see.
BBAC is the Black Belt Arts and Cultural Center. And it was youth in this town. It was where I first learned how to take our history and make plays out of it with the students there.
Just to give the two of you all a point of reference, I think both of you all were a part of RATCO. When the Freedom Foundation did plays and stuff. Well, it was sort of like that.
Part of 21st century when I was a little bitty kid.
Yeah. It was similar to that, except for that it was original plays.
Yes.
Like it was original plays, and it was plays about social issues in particular. And we traveled
on the air?
all over the country, from New York to California, performing and lifting up consciousness through arts and culture too.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So we have a caller. Caller, you're on. Good morning. Who am I speaking with? Okay.
Freddie Howard from down here in Beatrice, Alabama.
He is Freddie
Howard
from Beatrice, Alabama. Beatrice. I heard of Beatrice.
Right. I have a couple of questions for Ms. Young.
Okay.
With regard to school choice and charter schools and private schools, her position on that and how it will affect.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Mr. Howard. Beatrice is in Monroe County, and it's one of the counties I'm running in as a candidate. I believe that we have to keep our public schools. Public schools are an important part of our history and the things something that we need. People have private schools. They've always had private schools, church schools or whatever. But I do not believe that charter schools should be allowed to siphon off the money that is there for public schools. We know that when children go to charter schools, the money goes with them. But if they decide to leave the charter school and come back, the money does not come back to the public school with them.
Okay.
So, the charter schools are not governed by the people.
Oh, wow.
Our public schools are there for a reason. Those who are not upper middle class and middle class, our child becomes 5 or 6 years old and we send them off to public school. We don't have to apply to somebody as if they are applying for college to be accepted. That's one thing. And the other thing is that the public governs the public school. The public elects a superintendent, it has a school board, and the people who run it know what is going on in those schools. We have to improve them. Yes, there are lots of problems with schools, but we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Okay.
We need to keep our public schools. We need to make them better. We need to find teachers. Charter schools are not under the aegis of the public.
Okay.
They operate pretty much as they wish. It hasn't worked in Alabama. I think Livingston may have the the one that is doing the most, but the Lead Academy in Montgomery is not working, to say the least.